Hey everyone, this is Corine Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know, we do it here on Between the Lines, always with gratitude or thankfulness. And I like to always start off by saying it's a beautiful day. I think they're trying to decide the sun, the rain, which one to go first or they're both clashing together. But either way, I am quite happy with it. And for us here, we're in the hurricane season in the Caribbean. I don't know what about anywhere else in the world, but we're in the hurricane season. And so there'll be a lot of rain sometimes, but I enjoy it. Thunder and lightning included. And I'm happy to be here once again to be able to share what I can share with you and impact at least one life. It's not about the masses for me, it's at least one person who can also do it for another person. And I'm here with Benita Tyler. She's looking beautiful as ever. Oh my goodness, like she's out of a movie. And let me tell you what we're talking about today. We're talking about, are you addicted to dysfunction? Let me repeat that. It might sound kind of crazy to you. Yes. Are you addicted to dysfunction? Okay. Sounds like a drug, right? And it could be. It could be. So Benita Tyler was born in St. Louis, Missouri. She has 50 years of experience in the subject matter of life's hard knocks. Anybody been to school there? I'm sure we all have. She is also a speaker. Her educational accolades includes an Associate of Science degree in business, a Bachelors of Science in management, and a graduate certificate in human resources. Benita is also a contributor to the Examiners and adoption advocate. Nice. Her education and life lessons have provided her with a prolific blessing, and she loves to inspire others through her writings. And we're going to check out her website a little bit later. As you know, if you're a follower on Between the Lines, you know how we do it here. So welcome, Benita, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
It's my pleasure. Addicted to dysfunction. Now, who in their right mind would want to be addicted to such a thing? Huh? You have coke, you have alcohol, you have sex, you have every other thing out there to choose from. But why would you choose dysfunction? Tell us. Do you know if you are addicted in the first place? Because you know people who are addicted will never admit that they're addicted. They are under control. They have everything under cover. I can handle this. That's if they are aware first to begin. So give us a bit of a context here.
Okay, absolutely. And like you said, most people who have an addiction are not going to admit that they are addicted to anything. So as for myself, you had stated in my bio that I wanted to be a prolific inspiration to others. And so with that, that means being transparent and able to admit that I was and sometimes still can be addicted to dysfunction. And what that looks like, it's in a relational way. So basically with family issues and with relationship with my marriage, I guess I should say marriages because I've been married twice, but the second one really took me down the addicted to dysfunction road because there's so many things going on, when you're trying to raise a blended family and you got baby mama drama and all kinds of other stuff thrown in there.
I am holding my head and shaking. I am like holding my head and shaking. So you ended up going into this twice that you are aware of so far, and I could understand the addicted to dysfunction, and like I said to a lot of people because I too have been in dysfunction, and we all have some sort of dysfunction, but you need a healthy sort of balance. And you really want to eliminate dysfunction as much as possible so that you're in a place of bliss and joy, yeah, peace and stillness. And it's not a matter of constant ranting and raving and bickering and you're feeling this upheaval within your system. But these things, from my experience, personal experience, and I'm sure you will share yours, it comes back from what you have been exposed to as a child. child because we didn't know better. We are dependent on our parents. And what we see, we believe is right, not knowing that at the time it's wrong. So we were trained to believe that what we were brought into, what was programming into us about relationships with male and female, brothers, sisters, mother, father, children, parent, that it was healthy when it really wasn't. So we look for those things when we arrive at the age and the hormones reach, and we start looking for these things in others, thinking that's the right way. Is that what happened with you? Share with us what happened, and then you repeated it again. So what's causing the repetition?
Absolutely. So the repeated pattern came from just growing a better awareness about myself and how I operate in the world. And so back in no, it wasn't 19, it's 2012. I'm sorry. Back in 2012, I kind of got really tired of being addicted to dysfunction. And so I wrote a book about it called Addiction to Dysfunction, Release to Live Life Out Loud. And the reason why I decided to write this book is because I was in a bad place, kind of like a dark situation. And I needed to get on the other side of joy. I wanted to be released to live life out loud. And I know the only way that I was able to do that was to dig a little bit deeper and to deal with some of the trauma that I had in my life with men. And so this particular book that I wrote, I chose to focus on the 5 men in my life who came to teach me a life lesson. And the reason why I did that is because those life lessons were engulfed in dysfunction, and they also gave me an opportunity to learn about myself and how I was affected by all of them. So the 5 men in my life and the lessons that they came to show me was choices, a lesson about choices, a lesson about forgiveness, a lesson about awareness, acceptance, and disappointment. And disappointment's a pretty big one. And so when I talk about disappointment, that started pretty early. That chapter was about being disappointed about not having my father in my life. And as we know, whether you're a man or a woman, sometimes when you don't have both parents in your life, especially as a female and not having your father in your life, it is going to affect you. A lot of times we say, oh no, it doesn't affect us. Mom did a great job, being a single parent or what have you. But as you get older in your life, you can see how you may have needed that absent parent to be part of your life.
You're absolutely right. I grew up in that same situation or similar situation without really having a male presence in the home, so it does impact that, when you're living in it, you're like, but we're good, we're eating, we're drinking, we're not out on the streets, we're good, mom is doing a good job, she's working hard, she's keeping us healthy, she's making sure we're okay, homework is done, everything is fine. But you really see the absence of that, especially a healthy, good father, a good role model of a man could have done in your life, especially in relationships and what's expected of a man. And when guys are coming around you, for him to be that guardian, for him to be that person that steps out and says, are you here to speak to my daughter? That sort of protective, you see that sort of protection coming to you.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned about awareness and acceptance and disappointment. How do you come to the awareness that you may be addicted? How do you arrive at that?
So for me, the awareness part that I talked about in my book, when I got to that chapter, the awareness was, back when I was 21 years old, not having a father in my life and really yearning to be in a relationship and to be loved by a man. The awareness lesson came from just kind of jumping right in, not even, dating for a long period of time and not doing any kind of, groundwork, like what's your health record look like? What's your finances look like? Not asking those important questions, but just, having awareness of, digging in a little bit deeper. And so I didn't do that. I just wanted to be married. And so, the first person that showed me attention in that way, that love from a man, I gravitated to. And so that's how I knew I was addicted to dysfunction, because of the relationship that we had, the highs and lows. He ended up being murdered a couple years after we had our children and stuff. And, so just not having awareness, like, is this person for me? Have I done any kind of, background? We don't even do the least of a background check sometimes when we jump into relationships. We just go with what's told to us, based off of our self-esteem or our lack of self-esteem. Yeah, so that's where that came from.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. And at the end, you're like, when somebody asks you, do you know this man? And you really think about it, you're like, I really don't know anything about him. But you see, what I think, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking where that comes from is a fear of losing the man because of such a desire and a need to have the man. So if we were to ask those questions about finance and their background and delve into their past and ask them certain questions, it will repel him, or he might decide, oh, I can't take all of these things. Why are you asking me that? And these things happen to me, and I am like, this is a red flag. If you're not able to answer my questions or my concerns, it's not a matter of delving or digging deep. And even if it is, if you seriously have an interest in moving forward with me, you have a right to ask me the same. And it's not a matter of when you feel you should ask me. When I feel like when you decide as the man, I should ask you. If I want to ask you no, you should be able to answer. I am not stopping you from asking me that question. No, if you ask me certain questions and I feel triggered by it, I will take time in answering it and say, that is a trigger for me. I'm still coping with it, but I can give you this much at this time, and we could go a little bit deeper at another time, that type of phase it in. But for me to just resist it and brush it off or not answer it, to me, that is questionable, especially if I am investing or thinking of investing my life into yours for us to move forward. I am very, very suspicious of that. And I respect people's space. But I think should those signs and follow your intuition, Benita, and anybody listening to this, and you feel uncomfortable about it, then something is wrong. I don't know if that's the kind of feeling that you had of the fear of losing the person if you were to ask too many questions that they might find intrusive, and it might turn them off and they run. Is that the kind of mindset you think that's happening or was happening?
Yeah, I think so. I think on my end, it was probably just a lack of self-esteem and not wanting to lose, but then at the same time, just being a little bit of naive. Sometimes we're just naive. We don't necessarily, we see the red flags, but then we just kind of dismiss them as being something else. For example, both of my husbands, same thing, had a child that they did not want to disclose that they had, and then I learned, in my first marriage, I learned before, but then in my second marriage, I learned after. And it's like, and then even when my first husband died, somebody told me that he may have had another child that behind my back that I didn't even know about. I mean, and so it's just like, you get these inklings, which is called tuition. And a lot of times we just kind of brush those things off, or when we do ask and we're given our answer and our answer doesn't line up to the truth. And then, like you said, at that time you're invested, and so you don't want to lose, and you just stay in being in dysfunction, and throwing away your awareness straight out the window, just to feel loved. And so that's how you get addicted to dysfunction, I believe.
Yeah. And you see, you have to realize, just like with any addiction, to me, it is a need that you're trying to fill. So even with drugs, alcohol, sex, something, it's a need you're trying to fill, and you really need to look into yourself, do the counseling, psychological work, the healing, to be able to discover what it is that is making you attracted to this thing. Why are you so yearning, needy, desperate you be aware of your feelings that's happening inside your body, because your body does react. It gets tense. You start to go through the monkey chatter. You have the flutters. All sorts of things start happening to you. You can't sleep. You're not eating, and you're like, what is all of this happening? Why? You need to dig deep to find out why. And you mentioned self-esteem. Of course, it goes back to your self-worth and self-esteem. And when I say this, I mean, I am totally resonating, because I have been through it. I still go through it in different levels. So I'm not trying to be judgmental to anyone or make myself sound as if, aloof. And it's not that I haven't experienced it. I think we all have at different levels. But you do the work. That's the reason why I could speak like this. You have to do the work and take a step back and get to know who you really are. Who you really are, and fill those holes, and don't look for something or someone or a circumstance on the outside of you to fill that. You should be able to fill that yourself, not someone, something, or a circumstance. And the awareness is truly important. It's not a matter of awareness of the person, but it's more awareness of you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we're talking about addicted to the dysfunction. And addiction means it's a sort of repetition. You keep finding yourself falling back, backsliding, Benita. And
Mm-hmm.
what's causing that repetition? I mean, you feel the hurt and pain in your first marriage, but yet you end up bringing back that same thing, attracting it and marrying it a second time around. So you clearly didn't heal the first time. What's going on there?
Like you said, sometimes we have to learn more than once. We have to repeat that lesson, and hopefully, you don't have to repeat it a third and a fourth time. But I think in my particular situation, although there was some parallels in that awareness and some parallels in my choice and my dysfunction, they came in different. They were wearing different clothing, same problems, different clothing, in different
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
circumstances. For
yeah.
example, like my first husband, um, his child's mother, I got along perfectly with. There was no issues. We were able to co-parent and all that stuff like that. And then in my second current marriage, which I've been married for 28 years, in this marriage, and we survived all of that child baby mama drama, but it was rough. But in my mind, because I'm kind of outgoing and inviting and friendly and that kind of thing, I told my husband, it's going to be no problem. I'll be able to get along with this woman, and it turned out to be a crazy that I've never seen before. And so I went through some things, and that's where the deep dysfunction came, because it's like, while going through it,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to look away. You still, are in love with your mate, but then you've got to deal with their baggage. They're bringing baggage to the situation. They may not be handling that baggage very well, but at the end of the day, it's going to affect you. And so that person has to have an awareness of what they're bringing to the table too, and then you guys both have to have that transparent
Mm-hmm.
conversation about how you're going to move forward and how you're going to handle that situation, because if you don't, you're just not going to be married very long.
Yeah, the blended family and being with someone, as a woman, we are both women, black women, and we spoke about boundaries, or we need to mention boundaries. We
Mm-hmm.
need to decide what we want, Benita. And while your desire, and I'm just saying your, but not necessarily meaning you personally here, I'm just
Yeah,
speaking
absolutely.
generally.
Mm-hmm.
While your desire, our desire as women, is to be loved and to find that love, we cannot, or we should not, put that as the first and foremost thing over the health, holistic health of our being. So, in other words, don't sacrifice your whole self just for the sake of being loved, because at the end of the day, you will not be loved, because it will not come across to you as love.
Mm-hmm.
So, dealing with the man with the other woman, past relationships, past mothers of their children, to me, I am not into that. That's just my boundaries. I know that a man will come with probably his family and so on. I have certain conditions. I don't like to use the word conditions, but to me, they must be grown. It mustn't be like young children where the mothers still have to be involved with the young children and I have to interact with them. So, for example, if a man has children, it's not a problem, but they must be grown and out of the house. So, I don't necessarily have to deal with the mothers at no point. And I would think the reverse, a man may want the reverse. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to have to deal with
Absolutely.
that. And then another thing too for me, and I think for me, and I mean, a man may be listening to this so that he will get an idea of the type of woman I am. I am at a stage in my life where I don't want to be taking on the responsibility of caring for another child. I have two grown children and I am not taking on any responsibility of rearing another child at this point. I have done my sentence, I've done my work, and it's now about me living my life and enjoying the man, being able to pick up ourselves and say, babes, let's go for a trip in Mexico. And we should be able to do that without having to worry about where the kid's going to stay, who is going to take care of the cat and the dog, the worm in the bottle. I don't want to be thinking about that. So, that's just me. Does that mean to say I am a particular way? Yes, I am a particular way. That's just me. And I should not feel chastised or treated a particular, that's just the life I want to live. So if somebody like in your circumstance take on situations, you're taking on those things, you are actually saying, I give you permission to come into my life and bring that. No, I don't want that. No matter how juicy the man look, Benita, I don't care. It don't matter how juicy. I don't care. I will see you looking juicy from a distance and say, oh my God, you're juicy. But
I love it.
No. I will watch you with your juicy self from a distance and fascinate and fantasize. Yes, I'll do all of that. But I am not taking you with all of that.
I
No,
hear you.
no.
I love that point that you're making. I love the point that you're making, and I think that if you do decide to follow behind Juicy, you better have the will to use your voice, and that's important because again, landing on addicted to dysfunction, a lot of it was because I did not use my voice. You do have to ask for what you want, and it's a tough learn sometimes if you're not somebody who uses their voice. But I try to employ all women to use their voice because that's why God gave it to us, and when you're out there and you're in a relationship, you have to speak up and ask for what you want.
Exactly. It might sound shocking, but what I say to people, we as women tend to give our bodies before our voice. You give your body, your temple, which is supposed to be sanctified. You give your body to a man. Take off your clothes and you give the man your body and not your voice. When the first thing should be your voice, the last thing should be your body. Okay, the last thing, if ever, should be your body. The first thing should be your voice. And like I say, I will repeat it again. It's not that I haven't made mistakes, but it's because I have made those mistakes. And because I've worked on myself. And because I have a voice. Okay, and because I don't want to go down that road, Benita, again, I have made up my mind that if it is that I need to be single the rest of my life, I am quite happy with that. Because I want to be able to sleep in the night. I want to be able to have peace. Okay? For some women, it's like, I can't sleep by myself. I could tell you, I could sleep by myself. I can't sleep with anyone. You understand what I'm saying? It's difficult for me to lie down next to anyone. It's like traumatic. So So, you know, I am good. I am good. And it's not to say that I wouldn't want a companion, but it's what comes with it. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to set the standard, set the tone, and don't make anybody make you feel less of a person because you have your standards. There is somebody
Mm-hmm.
out there for you that would bring the healthy, bring healthy, and you bring healthy and create a healthy environment. Any
Absolutely.
thoughts on what I'm saying? I'm just talking. Yeah.
You're
Yeah. I'm
telling
just talking
you're
based on my experience. I mean, you're still married. You're still married, right? I'm happy for you. You could enjoy it for
yeah.
me and you.
Enjoy it from you. And I will say, over the last 10 years, my marriage has gotten a lot better, and a lot of it is because of some of the things that you've talked about. Those kids are grown. Those kids are not living in the house anymore. We are free to have freedom to enjoy one another,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be transparent, to for me to use my voice and say, hey, I don't want to do this. I'm fine
Yeah.
with doing that. That kind of thing. And so we get along so
Mm-hmm.
much more better. And so and me writing that book, and my husband was very supportive, even though the chapter about awareness was about him and it was about the blended family and all that. He is very
Yeah.
um, like a helpmate. He appreciates the fact that I use my voice and that I wrote that book, and didn't have an issue with me doing it. And matter of fact, he'll sell a copy before I will. And so, as women, you really do have to, if you want to cultivate a great relationship, whether it be with a man, a woman, whatever that looks like for you, you have
Mm-hmm.
to set up
Mm-hmm.
boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and use your voice. Or you can just be addicted to dysfunction all your life. It's your choice.
Mm-hmm. 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 I say instead of addicted to dysfunction, be addicted to yourself. You see what these people here doing?
Ooh,
You see this?
I like
This
that.
is an addiction to yourself. I don't mind that
I
at
like it.
all. You see what they're doing here? And how they're looking
Mm-hmm.
fine and sexy, all of them? Yes. You
Mm-hmm.
see this? Where this man is on a bike and just riding off? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm talking about. You see this? All the sisters and they meet together and have fun, drinks and go out and talk crap. That is addicted to life and addicted to me. Okay? That's
Absolutely.
what I like. You see, you see this
Absolutely.
where it shows balance and all by the ocean. That
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm about. You see this where my girl is like she looks like a sword, where she's just getting ready to take off, like an arrow. That is addicted to life and addicted to yourself. Stop being
I love
addicted to
it.
dysfunction. All these books, all these resources here, I am
Mm-hmm.
encouraging people to get access to them. You see, I'm showcasing it. Let me see if I can click view all products and see what happens. See what
Yes.
happens when I click on view all products. You go to the shop, check out Benita Tyler's shop. You see it here? There's nothing here with no fighting, quarreling, drama, nothing. Okay?
Nothing. None of that. No one has time
Nothing.
for that.
Nothing about drama. No. And don't make time for it either. Don't make time. Okay? It's what you allow. Help us to go through this website here. Is there anything else besides the products, your books? I see you have coaching. How can persons get probably even a free consultation with you? Do you offer that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They can go to the website and request one. And then I also wanted to tell you, and I know you're going to love this. I don't have it on the
Mm-hmm.
website, but I have a new book coming out, and it's
Mm-hmm.
called Go Ahead and Be Braver. Now think about that for a minute. And it's
Okay.
really what I call that is the new
Wow.
mantra for the women of 2021. After we sat in COVID and some of us are still paralyzed, not moving again, still trying to figure out, how to bring ourselves back outside. And so this book is designed to give you that boost to go ahead and be braver. And like you said, live your life with pure joy and, forget about just being brave, just stepping on the tippy toes of what braver looks like, but then jumping full in. and immersing yourself in bravery, whatever that looks like in your life. For some people, being braver may be just driving out of town by themselves because they're scared to drive their car, or going on vacation alone, or like you said, going out to drinks with your friends, or just asking your husband to babysit, So I'm really excited about that because, as women, we're not always braver. We're a little brave sometimes, but we need to go ahead and be braver.
Yeah. We have a voice. We have a very, very powerful voice. And you see, once you find it, there is nothing that can stop you. There is nothing that can stop you. Find that voice and keep feeding that voice, with self-care, self-love, whatever is needed to keep you, filling that vessel, to keep your strength, because you keep pouring out for other people, but you're not pouring in for yourself. Yeah? Benita, any final thoughts as we wrap up?
No, I think that you covered it. I think that our listeners today will, have some juicy action items to go ahead and take advantage of. Just get outside and, get on the couch and make every minute a purposeful one. So that would be my go ahead and be braver advice today.
Go ahead and be braver. Yeah, whatever you need to do, even if you need to throw on a cape or something that makes you feel brave, that gives you whatever, wear a chain, wear a bracelet, whatever that makes you feel empowered and inspired, or earring, or I don't know, whatever that makes you feel good about you, go out and be brave. Go out and live life. Be addicted to life. Be addicted to yourself. Yeah. Benita Tyler, thank you so much for being here on Between the Lines. Yes,
thank you so
sharing
much.
your experience personally and being vulnerable to the audience, which is very important, because we want persons to know they are not the only ones who are going through it, and we don't want to give the impression that we are perfect in any way, but what we are perfectly flawed, and our experience is what we want to share with others so that they too can be perfectly flawed and learn and be stronger, not only for women, but also for men. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.